of the chairs.
I have nothing to say on this.
On subsequence.
Motion to the previous question.
Motion to previous question.
Now we will have all in favor of the motion for the previous question, say aye.
Aye.
Any abstaining, any opposed? Nay. Okay, so we will carry on to the previous question with the negative shortened speech.
Negative what? Negative scolding speech.
Oh, okay.
So a subsequent speaker came up here and said that some businesses have the right to compete and they have the right to earn money. They don't. They don't have the right to compete. They don't have the right to earn money. If your small business doesn't provide the best product, you don't have the right for people to. You can't force people to buy products from your business. If you're not providing the best product, if customers don't want to buy your products, you don't have a right to force them to buy your products by forcing other competitors out, because that's what big companies are. They attempt to compete with small businesses. And it was said that monopolies don't cater to local needs. Well, if they're not catering to local needs, then a local business will be created that can do it. If that local business does cater to the local needs, then people in that locality will buy from the local business because it does cater to the local needs. People will buy the product that is best for them. Another thing that was mentioned that I really want to address is somebody mentioned something about the moral justification of it. And I'm glad that you mentioned this, because let me tell you something, the least moral thing is regulation, because the least moral thing is violence. And that is what government regulation is. Government regulation is the threat of violence. By saying that you want the government to solve a problem, you are using violence. All government solutions problems are done through the threat of violence. If you break a law, you're doing so under the threat of violence. If you don't do what the government tells you to do, you are doing so under the threat of violence. You must understand that regulation, by saying that it's okay to regulate things, you're saying that it's okay to threaten people with violence if they don't follow the command of the government, because that's exactly what it is. I yield my time to the chair.
Now we have the closing speech on the pro side.
All right. So I'd like to thank all the speakers who came up here today. So there were some good points that were brought up on both sides. Now, the first thing I want to talk about is speakers' categorization of monopolies. When a monopoly forms, the definition of a monopoly is when one enterprise controls the means of production for an industry. So, for example, let's say this tie company scenario, that there is one company that, and this is a land where there's no regulation. There's a tie company, and it's throwing its toxic waste into the water, it's spewing out chemicals, and its ties cause cancer. Now, after a while, these ties are obviously going to be really cheap and really easy to produce. And so after a while, other businesses that, have safe products, which are sometimes will be unable to compete with this business that doesn't necessarily tell people what's in their ties, but they have cheaper ties. So then any business that has a more expensive tie is going to go out of business because there's no regulation to stop this other business from producing unsafe materials, even if they are cheaper. And this isn't good for consumers. They may get a cheaper tie, but if they die, then nobody gets their money. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is this threat of violence thing. The government, when you do not follow a regulation, they don't sentence the CEOs to death. They fine them, they sue them. Most of the time when CEOs don't follow regulations, they get stuck in court battles, which cost millions and millions of dollars. Nobody dies. I don't think there's ever been a death or any violence from a court order of the government due to someone's not following regulations. But the thing is that this system, capitalism, cannot run itself. Capitalism is not just the exchange of goods, that's trade. Capitalism is a system where enterprises exchange capital as opposed to the government exchanging capital and services. Now, if there's entirely no regulation, there's no oversight, products are bad, there are less jobs, there's child labor, there's horrible working conditions. I'm not saying, I say socialism and communism are horrible compared to capitalism, but nothing is good, just entirely unhinged. Everything is good with at least some moderation. And with that, I yield my time to questions. All right, okay, then I'll keep talking. All right, so also, here's another example of monopoly. Phone services. AT&T and Verizon and Sprint and T-Mobile. All four of those hold a humongous grip on the United States phone service market. And T-Mobile and AT&T wanted to merge, not so they could lower prices and benefit us all. No, so they could charge you more because there's less people in your area. Comcast is another example.
Motion to extend time.
You can't extend time in the public speech.
Motion to suspend the rules and extend time.
Yeah.
You're gonna need a 2/3 majority to pass that motion.
All those for, say aye.
Aye. We shall extend the time.
You can't do a motion to suspend the rules without doing a hand raise vote. That's Robert rules.
Can you, go ahead.
Just whatever, just do it.
Yeah, sounded like it was you, but thank you. Yeah, there is a lot of time left. Anyway, yeah, so Comcast is another example. People who have Comcast hate Comcast because there is no other alternative. And if a new business just opens up and says, we're going to have lower prices than Comcast, what Comcast is going to do is they're going to do everything to send that business underground, okay? They are going to try all they can to destroy them. And this is what happens. In a completely unregulated world, you have enterprises running the government and running the economy, not the people. Thank you.
The resolution is that the regulation of business is beneficial to capitalism. Now we shall take the vote on the resolution. Everyone in favor of the resolution, please raise your hands.
No.
All those opposed to the resolution, please raise your hand. All those abstaining to the resolution, please raise your hand.
I really have to remember. I could argue my
The resolution has passed. Now may I please have all speakers come up to say their names?
I'm Ian Bauke from San Marcos High School. The last name is spelled Baucke.
Say it one time.
Baucke.
Who's the person?
Ian. IAN.
I'm David Gummert from Van Nuys High School. DAVID.
SAUL.
Michael Deveros from Whittier High School. ONTIDEROS.
I'm Tiffany Nolan from Glenmore High School, and my last name is JUAN. And I'm obviously not
All those figures.